Today I'm in Manchester and I'm going to be eating at 3 of the top rated breakfast spots in the city to find out who has the ultimate breakfast. It's pretty early in the morning right now and I'm hungry, so let's get eating. So the first place I'm checking out today is called the Koffee Pot. Located on Oldham Street, it's known for no-nonsense breakfast, it's popular amongst many people in the city and has great reviews on Google and TripAdvisor. So let's head in and check it out. The inside of this place is pretty large and spacious. I was actually surprised at how big it was. You have loads of tables throughout with a bar area and even a section on the opposite side with booths to sit in if you fancy something a bit more comfy. There's loads of artwork on the wall, and wait, is that the Mona Lisa? I don't think it is, at least not the original. It actually looks a bit scary, to be honest. There was one good piece of artwork I saw though. There has never been a sadness that can't be cured by breakfast foods, which I totally agree with. So with that, let's check out the menu. It's a pretty simple menu with your usual dishes like your fry-ups, pancakes, muffins, with some of them sounding really nice, so I might have to come back and try them another time. You have the drink section with your teas, coffees, and this place even has smoothies and juices too to choose from. But I've come here for the KP Full English and a cup of Earl Grey tea. Now this breakfast came out looking really nice and had everything you wanted on a breakfast on it, but with only one sausage though, which I was a little bit disappointed about, but I can get over it if it tastes good. So with this breakfast you get 2 rashers of bacon, a good portion of baked beans, a decent sized sausage, fried mushrooms, a fried tomato, a round hash brown, 1 fried egg which looks to be cooked perfectly, and 2 slices of toast with 2 packs of butter on the side. The first thing I want to try out is the sausage. It's a decent size as I mentioned and cooked with a nice golden brown charring on it, which is perfect, and you can see some herbs running through it as well. So let's go in for a taste. There was a big snap to the sausage which I wasn't expecting, a bit like the ones that you get from a Christmas market, but the taste was definitely there. It was meaty and you could taste the herbs in it. I think it was sage, but I have to say it was really delicious. Let's move on next to the bacon. So it says in the menu that this is butcher's dry cured bacon, so it should be pretty good, and you get 2 of these. Let's go in for a taste. It's a good solid bit of bacon, very nice. Now one of the things you have to do when you get a fried egg is the yolk test, and the way to see if it passes is if the yolk is nice and runny, and going by the evidence here it looks to be cooked perfectly, and this is great for dipping things in, which I definitely did do. So another one of my favourite items is the hash brown, so let's cut a little piece off and see what it's like. This was really good, and I mean really good. I enjoyed this a lot. The fried potato flavour that you get is just so satisfying. In fact, if the breakfast came with more of these, I would definitely not mind. The toast here was good too. And I finished it off with a cup of Earl Grey tea. What a great start to the day. That was a really lovely breakfast in there. I think the sausages were definitely the star of that breakfast. And the artwork on the wall was pretty interesting too. It cost me £13 in total. Let's move on to spot number 2. The second place I'm eating at is called Elmcop, situated on the corner of Blossom Street. Highly rated on Google and TripAdvisor. You might not know it's even there apart from just a small sign above the door and a few tables and chairs outside. It had an interesting sign on the outside saying, "Is it lunchtime yet?" Well, no it's not, because today is breakfast day. Maybe I'll do a lunch day another day. Let's head in. Now the inside of this place was modern and stylish, open plan with exposed ventilation and lights hanging from the ceiling with a great colour scheme too, and the tables placed in a line down the restaurant. There was even another section on the left with comfy looking booths too, so overall a great looking restaurant on the inside. I hope the food lives up to it. The menu was quite extensive with the usual breakfast and brunch items ranging from your full English to eggs on toast, sandwiches and even burgers. But I was here for one thing, the full English breakfast, which is exactly what I ordered. Now when this came out, it was probably the best looking breakfast I'd ever seen, from the arrangements of the items to the plate and placement of the ingredients and the colours too. It was what I imagined the ultimate breakfast to look like, and I could not wait to dig in and taste all of it. So with this breakfast you get 2 good sized sausages, and they look to be a little bit darker than the first place I went to. 2 poached eggs, which again is a little unusual as normally they're fried eggs. 2 rashers of streaky bacon, again a little bit different as normally you get back bacon. A huge slice of black pudding, which I can't wait to try. A fried tomato, their own made baked beans, which look rather interesting. A small cube of hash brown, and some sourdough toast with butter melting through it. I'm going to start off here with the sausages. Now it says on the menu that they're Grandad's sausages, so I'm not totally sure what that means or what's in them. Now these tasted great. A bit of a snap to the skin, really meaty on the inside, and totally different to the first place I went to. Now I couldn't go any further without doing the egg test on these poached eggs, because they just look perfect for it, and they didn't disappoint. The yolks were nice and runny on the inside, and poached eggs are arguably the best eggs for a runny yolk, so these were great. The bacon had me a bit intrigued as well, as it was smoky, streaky bacon, and I was quite interested to see how these would taste compared to normal bacon. And let me tell you, it was really nice. They were meaty, salty and smoky. The baked beans had a strong tomato flavour, almost like tomato puree, so they were pretty strong. Now the hash brown, this was something I was definitely looking forward to trying, as it's one of my favourite items, and this one looked particularly good with how crispy and golden it was. It was a little on the small side, but let's cut into it and see what it's like on the inside. So the inside is really interesting. It almost looks like noodled or spaghettied potatoes. So small strings of potato, which I've never seen before, which made me even more interested to taste it. It was pretty decent. You could definitely taste the fried flavour in there, but I think it could have done with a bit more of a potato flavour as well. The toast here was probably the hardest toast I've ever tried. It was so hard and crunchy that you need pretty strong teeth and jaw muscles to get through it. Now the black pudding. It's a good sized one you get here, and I have to say it tasted really nice. For those of you who don't know what black pudding is, it's basically a blood sausage. The texture I would describe as almost cake-like. So the inside is soft and dry and crumbly, and a sort of savoury meat cake, if you can imagine that. I got a pot of tea with the breakfast as well, which is what I needed as it was a cold day that day. So a hot tea definitely helped with warming me up. What a great second breakfast. I would definitely say it was a bit more of an upmarket, fancier breakfast than the first place, but still pretty good though. Let's move on to spot number 3. I forgot to mention, but the total cost of that breakfast was £16, which brings my total spend for today at £29. The third place I went to is called Evelyn's Cafe and Bar. It's situated on Tibb Street and is an easygoing restaurant serving brunch classics. Again, highly rated on Google and TripAdvisor and popular amongst many people. Let's head in and check it out. The inside of this place is chic and modern looking, with an open plan design. It has a bar, an open kitchen area where you can see the chefs cooking and preparing the food. They have a lot of plants on display, even a hanging garden filled with pots and plants. The menu is pretty simple, with the usual brunch items like breakfast, toast with various toppings, burgers, salads and even fish and chips. But we know what we're here for, and that's the breakfast, which they actually call the ECB breakfast. So let's order it and see what it's like. I ordered some Earl Grey tea too, which came in one of the fanciest teapots I'd ever seen, and it made making the tea a bit of an event, which I enjoyed. The Earl Grey tea smelled really nice too. The taste didn't disappoint either, as it was delicious. Probably one of the best Earl Greys I've ever tasted. So when the breakfast came out, it was for sure the most different to the previous 2 that I'd eaten, but it did have some of the usual items that you would normally get. So with this breakfast you get 2 sausages, slow roasted tomatoes, homemade beans, which looked to have loads of different kinds of beans in it, cucumber, a fried egg with spices on top, sourdough toast, and something called a beet pud, which I'm guessing is supposed to be black pudding but vegetarian version. Nevertheless, I was pretty interested in trying it. I started off with the sausages, which were described as merguez sausages on the menu. Now I'm not totally sure what type of sausages these were, but they looked pretty delicious and a good size too. So let's go in for a bite and see what they're like. Here it goes. So these were pretty interesting. They were really meaty and also spicy too, so they definitely had some sort of spices in them. The meat also tasted like lamb, which was a little different to your normal sausage, but still tasty nevertheless. Next up, I wanted to try the beans, although they were more like a bean stew rather than baked beans. You get a tomato flavour in them, and again well spiced, although I'm not too sure if it was from the sausages that I'd eaten earlier on. Now I have to say the egg looked really nice here, sprinkled with various spices on top. I had to give this the yolk test, and again this passed with flying colours. The yolk was perfectly runny inside and cooked to perfection. Really nice. The one thing I was most curious about was the beet pud, a bit of a play on black pudding. What was this going to be like? I just had to try it and find out. The texture was there, but the taste I'm not quite sure. I think real black pudding is better. So this meal was really rich in flavour, which is why you have the cucumbers there. You need it as it acts like a bit of a palate cleanser to calm down the spice, which I think I definitely needed, as it was getting a bit too salty and spicy. Now I thought the toast at the second place was too hard and crunchy. Well, I hadn't tried the toast from here. It was on another level. I think I almost broke a tooth. So another great breakfast. The atmosphere was pretty lively in there. They had the music on really loud. It was pretty much like a bar. So the total cost of that breakfast was £17.50, which brings my total spend for the day at £46.50. So which was your favourite place out of the three? Comment down below. I think for me it's going to have to be the first place. I think I prefer the more traditional style of breakfast. But if you want something a little bit more alternative and a bit more fancy, the other two places are definitely worth checking out. So if you like breakfast, click on the thumbs up icon below, click on subscribe to come along for the next food journey, and I'll see you in the next one.